Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Let's see if this will capture Pimax software. Device settings. All right, I run 72 hertz refresh rate because that's closest to the frame rate that the video card's going to do in this game. The closer you run this to your actual frame rate, the less chance you're going to have of tearing. All right, so then you want to go to Games, Assetto Corsa EVO, Enable, set the quality to low, which if you go to Customize, you'll see what low is. You'll see medium is 75%, high is 100%. You're going to need to run low. All right, you want to turn on quad views and set it to performance. The rest of this probably going to be defaults. Do not check these boxes for half frame rate. All right. In the general settings, you want to make sure that you've got all the latest update for your firmware for the headset. And you want to make sure that OpenXR runtime is Pimax OpenXR. Okay. Under advanced, I do not use the pass-through. I accidentally hit that button all the time trying to grab it, and it doesn't want to come out of pass-through, and I have to come out of the whole thing and do it over. So anyway, uncheck those two if that gives you a headache like it did me. All right, so then you're ready to launch the game. We want to make sure we have Assetto Corsa EVO selected here. We got it on 50% render, which is plenty of clarity. If you need more, you can go up to maybe as high as 70%, but you're really going to start hurting the frame rate the higher you go. And beyond 60-65%, I don't see much clarity improvement, and the frame rate is so bad it's unplayable. All right, so now we got all that set up. We're going to hit start. This should launch the game. My monitor is HDR. Windows is set up to auto detect HDR. So it might do that, and it might capture in a funny color. We'll see. All right, so this is in VR because we launched it from the Pimax VR software. So this looks kind of low resolution here. Okay, I actually do not have my headset on my head. It's just laying over there. But right now, you probably can't see it. We are getting we're getting pretty bad frame rate, but I'm also recording and playing the game at the same time. So usually this is about 45 frames per second. Right now it's god awful at about 10. So anyway, in the game, here's how my settings are. Okay, frame rate limit. My monitor can do up to 240 frames, so I max that out. VSync, I turn that off. Full screen on. I do not have a triple screen monitor set up anymore. All right, now my native resolution is 3440 by 4040 because I have an ultra wide aspect ratio monitor. So that's normal. So we go to graphics. On the graphics, first thing you want to do, set everything to very low. This will get most of the settings where you want to be. Hit apply at the bottom left, back, quit the game. This is important. If you do not quit the game, you're probably not going to see a change in the frame rate. All right, so we're going to fire the game right back up from the Pimax Play software. All right, continue. All right. Currently getting tons of micro stutter, but that's because I'm recording. Anything that, if you have something that's using the hard drive, like you're writing to the hard drive, that's going to cause micro stutter. Micro stutter causes frame time. Frame time causes FPS delays and input latency. So anyway, let's go back to our settings, video, back to graphics. Okay, so this game suffers terribly from anti-aliasing. So 8x on that, cinematic on that, FXAA on that. Because we're running such a low resolution on the Pimax, we're running it at 50% of what it can do. You're going to need these up. And they don't cost much frame, about 5 to 10 at the most. If you don't mind flickering railing, it's usually the railing and stuff like that that flickers, and the white line around the edge of the road will be very jagged. So you want to crank these up to smooth that out. All right. And then anisotropic, I always say that wrong, anisotropic filtering. You want to crank that to the max. These are the road textures, vehicle textures. You want that crisp. Texture pool size, for me, I run ultra. Level of detail, I leave that low. I believe that's probably for most of the stadium and stuff like that. Not important while you're racing. Okay. Vehicle level of detail, this, I run ultra. The reason for that is if you run it too low, vehicles at a distance are going to run a low quality of detail, LOD, level of detail, a low quality of detail, and that means that they're going to pop out of sight, or they're going to go to a very low quality model and look like a piece of trash going around the road. So for me, I'm all about, it's got to look crisp and the frame rate's got to be decent. I would rather have crisp and good frame rate than blurry mess that's jagged as hell that's fast. Because then I lose immersion and then there's no point. Okay, so lighting. I messed with some of this. I did not see any difference in ambient occlusion. You could probably look for it and find something. I couldn't find it. Shadows. You may want to turn this all the way up or at least halfway. It seems like no amount of shadows will give a shadow under a wheel. So in VR, the cars always look like they're floating a little bit. Hopefully they'll fix that. So I'm running no shadows because or no extra shadows because it does cost frame rate and it doesn't really help. Grass density, I turn that all the way up because it does add to the immersion. It doesn't look like a golf course anymore. It looks like a proper course, road course. Clouds, I don't look at the clouds. Keep that on low. They look fine. Post processing, I don't do anything with that. Anything post processing means it's adding stuff for the video card to do after it's finished rendering the game. So, depth of field, no way. Motion blur, no way, no way, no way. Turn that crap off. Mirrors, if you want ultimate frame rate, turn that off. If you need to see what's behind you, you can do a single or a multi. Changing the resolution seemed like low with optimize and medium to high settings. This setting works pretty good, but if you want ultimate frame rate, turn that off. Okay, so these settings should, because I got the textures turned up and I got the anti-aliasing turned up, should mean good clear textures at the best frame rate possible because we're not running any extra fluff. Okay. Now I'll load it up. It's gonna run terrible because I'm recording this and I'm hard drive's going like mad right now. Trying to record it at a very high quality, so hopefully it comes out good. You can see the buttons I'm clicking and stuff. So anyway, but we'll fire it up anyway just to see if it'll even run while I'm recording it. Frame time's through the roof right now. Micro stutter's through the roof right now because the hard drive's being run. Okay, so there it is. I'm just turning that down so you can hear me. Okay, so that's what it looks like. Should be a pretty bad slideshow with this many cars and me trying to record at the same time. But anyway, so those are the settings that are working good for me. The only other thing that I do recommend doing, let me hop out of the game so I can show you. There's a Windows setting, and it's called Hardware Accelerated GPU. There's a lot of games. That setting in Windows, it may only be 11 thing, it may be a Windows 10 thing as well. But those settings, can cause problems. So what you want to do is right click on your start button and search. And then you can type GPU and click on graphic settings. And then you'll want to go to advanced settings and uncheck this hardware accelerated GPU. Turn that off. Okay. I have seen multiple games in my gaming career that this setting has ruined, and I've seen 0 games where this setting helped or was necessary or mandatory. So turn it off. It causes problems. All right. The other thing is you may see custom settings for applications. You should have one for Assetto Corsa EVO. If you don't, you can add one by clicking this Add Desktop app and then browse into wherever your Assetto EVO is. And you want to change your GPU preference from Let Windows Decide or Power Saving. Change it to High Performance. That'll ensure that your GPU runs at full power, because I have caught this game and some other games running the GPU at 50%. So if you're not measuring that stuff, you wouldn't even know, and the game run terrible. I was getting like 20 frames per second because it was power saving for some dumb reason. So never let Windows decide. It'll get it wrong. Always set that to high performance. I went through and did all my games. You know, just go through them and take the time. Okay. That's the key ones. Those settings that I spoke about should help you tremendously. And really keep in mind this. Whenever you run a video game in 2D, meaning you're just using your panel, your monitor, whatever frame rate you get there, let's say you get 100 frames there. If that game supports VR and you flip a switch and you say, now do VR, no matter what, you're only going to get half of that at best. Because now you're rendering that same game twice, one for each panel in your eye. So each one of those, the GPU has to, do that high resolution, tight pixel density display. So naturally, if it has to do the same video game twice from 2 slightly different angles to get that stereoscopic 3D look, it's going to take twice as much GPU to do it. So I always go into my new games and I go into 2D, and if they share the same 2D and VR settings like this game does, Assetto EVO, then I always go into 2D, set it up, for the maximum frame rate I can get out of it with the best clarity, and then I go into my VR settings and dial that in afterwards. That's the order. So anyway, good luck with it, guys, and let me know in the comments if that helped you.